What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ Review. I want to thank you so much for joining me here on my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to do a bit of a retrospective, a revisit. Today, I'm revisiting the 1931 Universal monster classic Frankenstein, which is now streaming on Peacock. I've only seen this movie once prior to this viewing. When I was in college, a couple friends and I grabbed the DVD from the college library and we gave it a watch around Halloween. And I remember I respected the movie for what it was, but that was really it for me. I guess my view hasn't changed a whole lot. In the past 20 years, I think I've come to respect and appreciate it a little more than I did when I was in college. I'm also thinking that it might be a little more for me than it was when I was in college, but not much. So, I had a couple big takeaways after watching this movie for the second time. First, it's short. At 70 minutes, it's a short film. Now, I know that a 70-minute film was considered feature length in the 1930s, but by today's standards, it was short. But the problem is, it felt long. This is a very story-driven movie that relies very little on action or big set pieces. But 92 years ago, I think they were still figuring out the movie medium and what it was to make movies, and they were doing a lot of telling instead of showing. Today, filmmakers have adopted the ideology of show, don't tell. Filmmaking is a visual medium, but Frankenstein was made in an era when they were still relying very much on the audio method. So that created some moments of this movie that just dragged on, making 70 minutes feel very long. The set design was a tale of two cities, so to speak. The makeup and costume design were brilliant, iconic, so iconic that the movie created the design of Frankenstein's monster that we know today. Boris Karloff nailed this role, and some of the set design looked really fake. Very clearly just a sound stage, drapes in the back hanging down. The set looked pretty awful. The demands of the setting weren't outlandish. Filming on location could have been possible. It would have been easy. I wonder if they had the ability in 1931 to film on location. I'm not really sure, but the set design was pretty bad. I suppose some might argue that adds to the charm, but for me it was distracting. Frankenstein is one of the great influential movies in film history. Be fighting a losing case if you tried to argue against it. The movie is a study of how much filmmaking has changed. It's also an adaptation of one of the classic horror stories of all time. It's an examination of life and death and the madness that human beings can adapt as they're trying to overcome the latter. Frankenstein was a huge success back in its day, and it's become a timeless film. For me, my appreciation of it has grown maybe a little, but it's still slow. It's still meandering, even though much of it is iconic, especially the imagery. The imagery is iconic, and because of that, I would give this a positive review if I was if I was doing that. If I was giving a positive or a negative review, it would be a thumbs up instead of a thumbs down. But it's strictly because of the iconic legacy that it's left, not the entertainment value that the movie had for me. Because I really kind of was a little bored. So, what was your take on the original Frankenstein? Have you watched it? Have you revisited it recently? Let me know what you thought in the comments below.